I'm gonna do that to you though, because Oh yeah, we also did color guard together, right? That was dope.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Did a little flags and everything. You know what I'm saying? All of that, just like that. So those two events are going on this weekend. If you want to get tickets, if you're on Facebook, the links are in my bio. If you're on Instagram, the links are in my bio. If you're on Facebook, the links are in the descriptions of the posts that are on my page. So definitely check those out. And then let's get started. This is my Groupie Friend vlog. So the focus of the Groupie Friend vlog is to showcase my amazing friends and the amazing things that they do in the world, and inspire people from all walks of life and perspectives that they can pursue their dreams and live in their purpose. And that it's possible no matter where you are to make change in your life.
Absolutely.
Gotta make change every day. Every day is a day to get it right.
Every day. No matter how much I resist my horoscope.
Come on now. Horoscope don't always know. Anyways, so how I perceive Arylle. So I've always seen Arylle as driven, and always able to accomplish what she sets out to do. It was interesting we became soul sisters as grown-ups to find out that she viewed herself as the exact opposite. But it has been a beautiful experience watching her grow into that understanding over the past 5 years, allowing me the opportunity to watch her jump. And I may have slightly pushed her out of the corporate play to her purpose. And so I just want to give you the floor to tell us who you are. Why are you so amazing? And all this.
Man, let's just start with the fact that you were like my spirit animal. I channeled you every single time I was afraid in the corporate world. Every single time I was like, I want to do it, but I don't know. I feel this way. All you did was become a reflection of who I was at that moment. And the growth was over 5 years, but literally just this week I had an epiphany about this journey from being a corporate America machine to an entrepreneur. So who am I? I am all the way around. I genuinely am a hard worker for better or for worse. But I'm also learning to embrace self-care in that whole thing. I think this journey of working is awesome, but I'm adapting new philosophies about enjoying life while I'm living it. Instead of enjoying the future life somehow, somewhere, someday.
Okay.
So Recovery Bar is my bar brand. So if y'all stick around to the end, you will get a 10 to 15 minute workout. Yes, and we are all about equestrian booties with low impact. So if anybody's out there listening and you have knee issues, my journey from corporate to bar brand really was more that wasn't a journey of me incorporating self-care into my life, because before I started bars, I literally just sat at my desk all day just typing away. And I decided to take a bar class, and then I got certified as a bar instructor. And then when I started teaching classes, I was like, well, I guess I have to leave work at 5 o'clock because I got to be at class at 5:30. So I didn't have no. Long story short, I set my life up with barbells to help myself embrace the things that I know I genuinely I inherently go against. So self-care, self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion, all of those things. And then I just let God do the rest. Was that a good overview? Hopefully I covered everything.
If you didn't, it's okay because they'll know more about you from the questions. But there were two things that you said that I kind of wanted to touch on. Just the reflections part. That's so real. How important to have people who reflect where you're going and what you're trying to do in your life. We've had some amazing just sister sleepovers where we pick each other's brain and motivate each other and offer different perspectives and give each other advice that somebody else wouldn't be able to do, because they don't know us like that. They haven't seen how we've been this person and now we're this person. You know what I'm saying? So you also are that mirror for me, in multiple areas of my life. You know what I'm saying? I was just arguing with you the other day. In my brain about me.
I already know what you were arguing with me for. They don't
That's all I gotta say is I argue with her all the time in my brain. I'd be like, I don't know why she always trying to tell me what to do. She just let me, and after I finish arguing with you, and then I try to do it my own way, and then I'd be like, let me try the way that she told me to do. And sometimes it works, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Sometimes, but that's what it's about. It's about having people in your life that can that iron sharpen iron.
Absolutely. You said you had two things, so I'm gonna let you.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say thank you because really, really and truly being that reflection is one of those things that keeps me sane. So that was when I was going through my hella anxiety phase. And just like hella cognitive dissonance about wanting to keep my 9 to 5 and keeping the money I was making and going out to be an entrepreneur. You were living your free entrepreneur, carefree, I love life, Rafiki life. And I channeled that energy and it was like, so I'm gonna tell y'all this. If you don't have an accountability buddy, one, you need to get one. But two, you need to get one that you trust because everybody's not gonna give you objective feedback. And everybody doesn't know your true wants and desires in order to keep you accountable to what it is that you want to do. So one thing that Pure never did was push me to do what she thought was the best thing for me. It was just reiterating what it was that I was saying because I was too foggy to even remember my dreams at some point. So anyway, thank you for that.
No, that's facts, and thank you because you'll be like, I'll tell you something, me, because I'm a multitasking queen, you know what I'm saying? So I might start 8 businesses in the springtime. And so it's good to have that person be like, so remember you said that you wanted to be here? Like, how is that going to help you get there? You know what I'm saying? And it's frustrating and but it's supportive and it's necessary because you need honest reflection. Like it's cool to have people that reflect you, but do they reflect you honestly though? Do they reflect you in the highest regard? Is their intentions for your highest good? Because you have some bona fide haters in your circle and you wonder why nothing is going right and well, you gotta look at your circle. But that's true. So I definitely appreciate that from you as well. Also, you said you put guardrails on your life to set you up for success for areas where you're struggling. I think that was like a really good you touched on a really good point for me because right now I'm doing a detox. I'm in week 3 of my detox. And that's the thing that I always try to do when I go on detox because you know what I'm saying? You're vulnerable to fuck up and you're trying to change things that you're trying to do. So to have those, what am I going to do if I'm stressed? What am I going to do if I have an anxiety attack? Who am I going to call for this? Like having those, like thinking ahead of yourself is super important, when you're trying to make change. So I definitely thank you for touching on that point.
Absolutely. Yeah. You summed it up. So you felt what I was putting down.
I did. I think that's what you laying down, girl. So let's go into these questions. What area do you feel like are some of the tools you received from unpacking your childhood?
Oh man. Peace. Hit it. Really hit the nail on the head. So remember I said I've been growing. And I feel like your audience will appreciate this. I've been growing even up until like yesterday. And I don't know if this is going to even come out the way I want it to come out. But one of the things that I have learned from my childhood that serves me today. Did I get that question right?
Yes.
It's really
more so like what I mean about unpacking your childhood, like unpacking those things that people people consider trauma and pain and getting the message behind that. That's what I mean.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna tell a little bit of a story. I'm gonna try to be brief.
Okay.
So I am, like I said, the hard worker. I never had a problem showing that part to me. I'm like, okay, give me some work, I'll get it done, right? But when it came to my personal side, my personal life, showing my personality, bringing even in my femininity, that never really clicked. I never really thought it was even necessary to bring both sides of myself to work, or even to embrace my femininity. Like I always knew I was attractive, right? And before I was slim because of bar, I wasn't vegan. I was eating meat and stuff. I had more of a stallion body, I would say. I would say I had a huge Georgia peach in the back, and that was my identity. My identity was my Georgia peach.
Some cheeks.
But I used to wear like little cardigans. I would cover up my body. I would just kind of, and then my coworkers, like my closer coworkers, would be like, you know, we can see your big booty, right? Like, even though you got that cardigan on, you know, we can still see it, right? So, and I mentioned that happened like almost 5 years ago. And what digging into my trauma or unpacking my childhood has helped me understand is today, as an entrepreneur, bringing my whole self is no longer an option. It's actually required. Being comfortable in my whole self is no longer an option. It's required in order to get to where I want to go. When you're in corporate America, they don't even care who your full self is as long as you work. But when you're an entrepreneur, you channel every single part of you, and that just shines throughout everything you do. And now that we're in the social media era, feminine energy as a woman is important, because if I look like a girl, I talk like a girl, but I don't really feel like a girl. I don't like the energy is off. It's like it's not translating, right? So I say all that to say. I had a conversation with my business coach, and she was telling me like, look, people like your face, people like what you look like, people like your body. And even though I'm a fitness instructor, I'm like, yeah, look at everything else but that, right? And like I said, I don't know if this is gonna come out right, but when you unpack your childhood trauma, and what I mean specifically is sexual trauma and being able to accept parts of your past and how that has accepted you. I'm gonna take a bit of a tangent because I know there are women who use their pain to really empower others, right? You remember when we had the conversation, using your pain to empower others? And as women, I think that is one of our gifts. I think that's one of our talents. We can actually channel our pain and make it to empower someone else. I've never used that gift. I never accepted my feminine energy because I felt like, well, in the back of my mind and subconsciously, I'm like, why are you looking at that? I don't want that type of attention. And I think that stemmed from a bit of a childhood trauma, right? When you're seen sexually and you don't want to be seen sexually as a child, you're like, I don't want y'all to look at me. Don't get turned on over here. And so I had to say this because that is probably one of the most empowering things that I have felt in a while. Just embracing my sexuality, embracing my femininity, and embracing my mind, right? I can be beautiful and smart. Like I can be, I love that you are going to do this, because like if I were to live that life, you can be butt naked and still do like if I could be doing somebody's books. I could be butt naked and still running somebody's numbers, right? I can still career coach you because my mind is still my mind. I just don't have clothes on. So that's such a valuable lesson. And I think I've touched on it year after year after year, but unpacking that is really important because you don't know what you're on autopilot, and if you don't really unpack that stuff, you really don't know what you're putting out in this world. So I would say that's the biggest thing. That was a long story to say.
So I appreciate it because we resonate when it comes to the sexual trauma and finding your power after your power is taken away from you, as a young child, and not really understanding how to deal with that energy, how to deal with that attention that unfortunately comes from the over sexualization of our society. Where young girls are told, that it's always their fault when they get, especially when you have that mind frame, it's your fault that you're getting that type of attention, even though and puberty is already freaking hard, you know what I'm saying? So now you're over here trying to take responsibility for somebody else's sexualization of your body, and it's like, okay, so now when you get through puberty, but you still have this uncomfortableness with who you are as a feminine being, who you are as a sensual being, you can't really tap into that sensual power, that creative energy, until you unpack all of that baggage, all of those misconceptions about sexuality that you've reclaimed over the years. So that is definitely I appreciate that whole story. And I love the fact that you said bringing your whole self, you know, when it comes to the spiritual work, when it comes to you doing this entrepreneur life and, you know, making what you are passionate about, what you make money off of, you can't half do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you gotta be your whole honest self. Like a Arylle Young says, healing in public. That's basically what you're doing. You know, you are intentionally showing your vulnerability so other people can heal as you heal, you know, so other people can relate to you as you relate. But then it's got to be balanced, right? Because you don't want to ride the trauma train. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to keep connecting to people through trauma. You want to be like, my wounds, my scars. So this is how I heal through that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not staying here. You know, so you want to stay, you can stay here, but I ain't staying here. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a really important thing for people who want to live this life to kind of keep in mind. Like it's great to be honest, it's great to be vulnerable, it's great to be truthful about where you are in life. But be careful that you're not wearing your pain as a badge. You know what I'm saying? I think that was an important conversation that we had at one point of allowing the trauma to be something that you experience and not allowing it to be who you are. You know, that was a really like growth moment for me. And the importance of being coaching, like I kind of wanted for you to take, you kind of grazed over the fact that you're a coach, but I kind of want to go back up there and be like, so you know, how does having a business coach help you? And I think that's really dope. It's something that I want to incorporate more in my life. You know, having those coaches in those areas that you know are your growth areas. You know,
Yeah. Man, so yeah, absolutely. I believe in coaches for almost every area of your life if you can afford it. But then I also believe in mentorship. So free mentorship. I don't like paid mentorship. But if it's a coaching situation, then you know that it's always an exchange between like with money and for what you're getting. But my business coach, I didn't. It's like getting more than what I even bargained for. Because when I went into having a business coach, it was just to get my business started, right? But there's so much around clarity that has to happen with coaching. There's so much around. I mean, the execution is really, important. For me, it's a little bit of accountability, but then it's also having someone look at you from a different perspective, and then pull out parts about you that you didn't realize. So if you are so LeBron James, right? He could be a basketball coach, but he has a coach, right? Because when you're out on that field, you can't see what you're doing. You can't see how far you get from double dribble. You can't see how close someone was next to you. You actually have to have a coach to have that vantage point to be able to. I think that's Matt. Hey, what's going on? I'm still learning how to the Instagram works. I think people can see me being live even though I'm on your live. So that's dope.
Yeah, because you technically should still be live on your page too. So
okay, nice. So the importance of having a coach is basically just to have that second perception into what it is that you're doing. Like I said, it's really great. There's coaches for every area of your life. So depending on what you need, you might need a life coach, and you might need a career coach. You might need a basketball coach, and all those different things help you level up in your game. It's not to say that you're not adequate, but it's someone who can see a different vantage point and help you get to your next level. So kind of weeding through the grass, getting through some of the forest so that you can see a little bit clearer. And that's what I've gotten from my business coach. And that's what I do as a fitness coach and as a career coach.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with my nephew. There's no aspect of your life the capacity to change. It's just about you going and developing that and investing energy and time in that, and using that mastermind energy to get the results that you want. So thank you for that. Second question: when was that I get it moment for you that gave you the reason for why? That gave you your why for chasing your purpose?
When was that I get it moment? So I would say there's been a lot of I get it moments, and I think every single step of the way, when I get maybe discouraged, I have an I get it moment, and that pushes me further. But if you look back at those I get it, you're like, oh, you didn't know nothing.
Right.
You didn't get nothing. You was just lost. You was just trying to figure it out. So the first I get it moment, like when I quit my job, I was, I guess I was at a place where I could continue moving up the corporate ladder. You know, I had just taken a promotion 5 months ago, so I could have gone up the corporate ladder, or I could have done something that actually moved me and that was making an impact in my community. So the I get it moment was like, for months you and I have been talking about me quitting my job, right? For months, for many different reasons. I just wanted to quit at some point, but then I got to a place where I said, you know what? I get it. In order to be my full self, in order to see what I really am made of, I can't keep thinking about this decision. I can't keep mulling it over. I saved up all this money. Like I have nothing. There's nothing stopping me from making a new like chapter in this life. So I get it. Meaning, okay, I get this is a decision that I actually want to make. You know what I mean? I get it. This means more to me than this job, right? So part of making decisions that are scary is just knowing what matters to you. So when I understood that, okay, keeping this job and this salary doesn't mean as much as girl, I'm just waiting. Hey, but keeping this job doesn't mean as much as impacting these young people's lives. Then I started to build a foundation in my personal values and my principles. So that was my first I get it moment.
Right.
There have been several I get it moments since then.
You know, it's like I'm reading the Young Vincent right now. So I quote a lot of the book.
Yeah, drop some wisdom on us, please.
She was saying that, you know, we are presented with the answers to our lives, and then we spend the rest of our lives figuring out the questions, you know. And when we get those spaces where we have to decide, like you say, you have the opportunity to make more money or do something that's fulfilling. You know, when you have those spaces in your life where you can take the normal route, you know, what society has trained us to do, you know, or you can take the route that feeds your soul, you know. And I think that's always brave when you take those steps, because everybody's presented with those, but some people don't believe that they can do it. And I'm sure there have been times where I've been presented with those opportunities, you know, and I'm sure there'll be times again when I'll be presented with those opportunities, but my lack of belief in myself has stopped me from really taking the leap that, you know, into that energy, into that unknown space that spirit is trying to push me to, you know. And I remember, because it's a quote that I chant, I say to myself all the time, telling you to chase the spirit, like go where you're afraid. Like that's great that you're afraid, go that way. You know, you're afraid because, you know, you don't know what's ahead of you, you know. And that's always a good thing. That means that, okay, I'm about to go down the road, I'll take, you know, the road not long to take it. So who knows what's waiting for me? But what I do know is, if I stay on this route that I'm on, I know what's going to happen. You know, I know I'm not going to be fulfilled. I know I'm not going to be happy. So it takes courage. But I feel like it's always worth it. You know,
it definitely is. So one thing that I want to touch on that you mentioned though, like when I left my job, I just thought I thought $100,000 was like, I just thought that was success.
Yeah.
And then when I left, it was even before I left, because I started doing the numbers way before then. It's like you can make a lot more money doing something else. Like you can actually make a lot more money doing your passion. And it's not even particularly just chasing a passion, but you can do a lot more money on your own.
Yeah.
If I'm making this company this much money, I could probably make at least this much money doing something that I want to do. Now, another part of my personality that I know now that I probably didn't know then was I'm just a self-led person. Like I don't like to be evaluated by a middle level manager who's just barely hanging on, and then they have the decisions of my career just hanging in there. I just don't like that feeling. It just channels off. So I had to figure out what I was made of. And I'm like, if I have all of these skills, then I know I'm not going to be broke. So it wasn't me making a decision between, let me leave the salary to be broke. It was like, no, let me leave this salary to make more money because I know what I'm capable of.
Right. Yeah. You know, we get so used to living by other people's expectations that the idea of living by our own is something that's sometimes unattainable in our mind, you know. But when you invest in you and you sell out in who you are, you know, you're always going to get the best results. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just bottom line, especially when you're doing it from a place of genuinity, and you know you are putting your purest intent into it. You know, because it's like the thing that I've been working on is the things that I say in my mind, right? Because how you view yourself, what you think about yourself, what you think about your life, the universe matches. You know, so if you feel like you are a victim, the universe is going to resonate with that energy and keep showing you different ways that you can be a victim in your life, you know. But if you feel like you are empowered, if you know that you're able to accomplish whatever goal you set out to, the universe is going to line that energy up. It's going to bring you people to assist you with what you're working on. You know, that's just how it goes. You know, you attract your vibe. You know, your vibe attracts your tribe, and that is in more ways than one. So I think that's really dope, and I appreciate you for saying that. We're not gonna go through all these questions. I just want you to know that.
That's cool. That's cool. What time is it? And just let me know when we're gonna do this workout.
Yeah, I'm watching the time 5:40. So at 5:55, I'm gonna move my chair or turn my chair so you can kick my butt, and you know we're gonna have give you a few minutes, put your music on, look at it, Arylle, I'm just gonna be on her live. I'm gonna just go ahead and break the lie. She's gonna tell you right now. She's gonna be like, okay, one more. That's her favorite thing. One more, and we on one more number 5. You know, I'm over here glaring. I'm gonna just let
all
you
you need to give it. All you need to give it is one more, and then we'll work on the next one. Like after you get this one, then we'll think about what's next.
Right, so I'm just letting you know that don't believe one more because you're gonna be mad and you're gonna roll your eyes like I'm listen. I love her workouts. I'm gonna roll my eyes the whole time, so just don't even look at me. I love her. She's on my nerves. She's great. She's great at helping me with your body, but she get on my nerves with that.
I'm okay with that. I am okay with that.
Question number 3: what tools do you feel you received from the corporate world that assist you in following your passion now?
Oh, okay, yeah. So one thing that I think if you ever wanted to leave corporate America in order to become an entrepreneur, I think you should hone your skills as a corporate entrepreneur, if that's ever a thing, because accountability. So maintaining my emails, making sure my emails present the brand that I want. That's important to me because I don't. It could be one email that I'm sending out to my boss, and then she's gonna forward that to the VP. The VP's gonna forward that to the CEO, and all of a sudden the CEO has my email. And you never know what opportunities can come out of that, right? So accountability, awareness of my brand, communication, of course, data analysis. Like I'm a big data person, and that's the one thing I probably miss from being in corporate America. Because when you get on your computer, you have all this data at your fingertips about people, about behavior, and so I don't necessarily have that data, but I do have the mindset about how people move. So, and then how technology works and how marketing companies capture information. I think the biggest thing, because I was in marketing before I left my position, is understanding how to target individuals, understanding how them being 25 affects their entire life, from career to their relationships to their mindset, money habits, all of that stuff kind of goes into marketing concepts. So finance, logistics, systematic behaviors, personal branding. What haven't I got from being in corporate America? Like my network. I think I leverage all of those things as an entrepreneur, and I think I stand out from in that respect, because some people go into entrepreneurship right after high school. I wasn't that brave soul, right? But because like when you're doing your own thing and you're figuring it out for so long, you know how when you learn how to drive, you start driving with one hand and you get real comfortable. You start to let the one hand off the wheel, and so you drive with one hand and you just lean, right?
Right.
Well, you do that for so long, and then I did that. That's me. This is my story. I finally had my driver's test, and I'm like, she's like, ma'am, if you don't put your hands back on this wheel and do it correctly, we're gonna end the test. So you go out in the real world, they looking at you funny, like, yo, this is misspelled. You know, like these are like things that people don't pay attention to, because when you're in corporate, you're like, everything is so nitpicky because everything has more eyes than what you realize. And so I operate that way. I operate as everything is my business, and I was doing that when I was in corporate America. So, you know, my personal brand then is now my personal professional brand now. So I've always thought in those regards. Like, you never know who's watching. You're always on an interview. You never know who you can bring value to. So you want to present yourself as, you know, as such every time, all the time.
And you know, I think that's one thing I definitely appreciate. You know, I know that you are the person that I can get to nitpick anything, and I definitely appreciate it. No, it's a compliment where I am right now, you know, because, you know, where I am right now, when it comes to Pure Creole's Eatery, that's my focus, to be more intentional, you know, to make sure that my brand sells it, you know, promotes itself, like people can understand what I'm doing, you know, because you're right. When you do this entrepreneur thing and you're learning yourself, because that's my route, you know, this is my 4th round at, you know, doing this entrepreneur life, and a lot of things I've learned along the way, but now I'm getting to the point where it's about quality over quantity, you know, and it's like, well, that I wish I would have known that. I don't know why your screen just went blue.
Yeah, it just went blue, so the connection was lost, please. I think that might be my thing.
Yeah, because I still see myself, but I don't see you. But why are you doing? I don't know. It's okay. Yeah, you can troubleshoot it if you like. I could feel the void while you troubleshoot.
I think he's coming back.
Okay, cool. You know, but I no, it's not coming back. You're gone now completely.
All right. I'm listening. I'm here.
But I would say that, you know, it's beautiful that you have that, you know, because it just takes some of the mistakes down. You know, it takes your percentage of mistakes that you're going to make as an entrepreneur down, because you already have that mindset that everybody's watching. You know, when you're doing this thing for so long by yourself, you forget that you do actually have an audience. You know, that somebody actually is watching you from beginning to end, watching you grow. You know, and that's a great thing to be aware of. So,
I would say I won't have as many problems. I'll just say I'll have different problems.
You'll have different problems, right?
The person, like, I'm comparing me to you, right? The person who jumps into entrepreneurship is also more courageous, you know, trusting of yourself. It took me, I spent 7, almost 8 years in corporate America, before I realized what I was made of, and I'm still figuring it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge value in entrepreneurship to just be willing to go for it,
mm-hmm.
and that's a struggle in itself, right? So getting out of your own way, that's a big thing. I'm more confident that when I get out there, I will present well, but then there's also that self-conscious, like, I'm very corporate. I'm like, give me a script and I'll read it out. Sometimes people want you just to be real. Some people, you know, it depends on the audience, but I'm still figuring that out as well. So,
and that's so interesting, because it's like we have the exact opposite issues, you know. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I do have some. You know, I went to business school. I've always been in business, extracurriculars and stuff like that. So I do have some idea of how to present myself. But when it comes to, like, I can do a live any day, every day, all day. But you want me to read a script? You want me to, like, you know what I'm saying, put on some professional clothes? Oh my God. You want me to do all these things? And I'd be like, No, I don't want to do it. But, you know, it's a part of it, you know, going to networking events and, you know, having a business card, making sure you can sell your business in 30 seconds and, you know, doing those things that are extremely important because in everything you do, having that mind mentality that every time I go out of my house, I am selling my brand, you know, is something that I'm becoming more and more aware of, especially as I'm coming out of my little hermit shell from wintertime. So, oh, okay, I'm like, man, she ain't came back on Facebook. Facebook, she here.
Yeah, I think it's because my computer
is dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what it's all about. So I want to ask you, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to be even more specific and say, in what ways was your iron sharpened in 2020? During the great epidemic.
Yeah, in what ways was my iron sharpened? You know, I guess I had a lot of conversations. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of really great people in the last year. So if I were to say the best way that my iron sharpened, I mean, I guess it's got to be with consistency. You know, having people around me who